Researchers spend billions of dollars every year trying to eradicate these medical scourges. Yet even if we discover cures to these and all other chronic conditions, it won't change our ultimate prognosis: death. That's because you haven't stopped aging, says Jay Olshansky, Ph.D., a professor of epidemiology and biostatistics at the University of Illinois at Chicago School of Public Health. But what if we could? What if we are trying to extend longevity in the wrong way? Instead of focusing on diseases, should we take aim at aging itself? Some scientists think so. Fueled in part by $1 billion of investor money, they are attempting to reverse engineer your molecular biological clock. The goal? To eliminate not merely diseases that kill people, but to prevent death itself. Aubrey de Grey, Ph.D., a biomedical gerontologist, has drawn wide attention for his belief that the first person who will live to be 1,000 years old is already among us. He believes there's no cap on how long we can live, depending on what medicines we develop in the future. The whole idea is that there would not be a limit on how long we can keep people healthy, de Grey says. He's the chief science officer and co-founder of the Sense Research Foundation, which funds research on how to put the brakes on aging. De Grey's view, in theory, isn't so far-fetched. Scientists have studied the immortal jellyfish, Turritopsis dohrnii. It's the only animal that can cheat death by reverting from adulthood back to its polyp stage when threatened with danger or starvation. Other clues to possible eternal life also may exist underwater. Certain marine clams can live more than 500 years. And lobsters stock a seemingly limitless supply of a youthful enzyme that has some scientists wondering if the crustacean, under the best conditions, just might live forever. Among humans, researchers have been studying superages, people who not only live exceptionally long, but also do so without many of the chronic diseases that plague their peers. That's even though they share some of the same bad habits as everyone else. They are making it past the age of 80 with their minds completely intact. That's what's so unusual, Olshansky says. The rest of their bodies are doing better than those of average 80-year-olds, too. People who reached ages 95 to 112 got cancer, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, and stroke up to 24 years later than those with average lifespans, data show. Figuring out why might pave the way for targeted gene therapy to mimic the DNA of these nonagenarians and centenarians. There's likely to be secrets contained within their genome that are eventually discovered that will help us develop therapeutic interventions to mimic the effects of decelerated aging, Olshansky says. Treating aging this way may offer a bigger payoff than targeting individual diseases. That's because even if you manage to dodge any illnesses, there's ultimately no escaping old age. Longevity is a side effect of health, de Grey says. If we can keep people healthy, then their likelihood of dying is reduced. In 2015, Michael Cantor was prescribed metformin for prediabetes. Once that was under control, his doctor said Cantor could quit the drug. But Cantor had heard about studies testing it as an anti-aging drug. The 62-year-old Connecticut-based attorney asked if he could stay on it. A year ago Cantor's wife, Shari, who is mayor of West Hartford, CT, started to take metformin, too. I read the articles, they made a lot of sense to me, and with the number of people that have been taking this drug worldwide for decades, I felt like there was nothing to lose, he says. The couple can't say if the daily doses have led to any changes in how they look or feel. After all, they're taking the pills not to treat current ailments but to prevent ones in the future. They may have answers soon. Nir Barzilai, MD, director of the National Institutes of Health's Nathan Schock Centers of Excellence in the Basic Biology of Aging, is leading a study that hopes to prove aging is a preventable health condition. The TAME, Targeting Aging with Metformin, study is designed to do this by demonstrating that metformin, a cheap and widely prescribed pill for diabetes, may also be an anti-aging elixir. The TAME trial is currently in phase 3, typically the final step of research into any treatment before drug makers can apply for FDA approval. Earlier studies found that people with type 2 diabetes who take metformin have lower death rates from any cause, compared to peers who don't take the drug. Metformin also seems to help curb incidence of age-related diseases, including heart disease, dementia, and Alzheimer's. It also may lower the risk of many types of cancer as well as raise the chances of survival. Observations made since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic suggest that people who get the virus while taking metformin are less likely to land in the hospital or die from it. It's not clear exactly how metformin works to do all that. The compound was originally derived from Galega officinalis, also known as goat's rue, a perennial plant used as medicine since medieval times. Barzilai says he hopes to prove that aging is a preventable condition. If the results are what they think they will be, the whole world could go on metformin and extend life for everybody. Extend your good quality of life, Barzilai says. That's what we all want. Every extra year that we could get where we're still vigorous and vital would be amazing. Some researchers argue that only the health span, the period of life free of illness, is worth extending. Of course, a healthy lifestyle can add years to most people's lives and actually improve cellular aging. Some of the biggest payoffs come from quitting or never smoking, logging more than 5.5 hours of physical activity per week, and keeping a normal weight. Drugs may be able to do that as well by interrupting common markers of aging, including telomere length, inflammation, oxidative stress, and slower cell metabolism. You don't have to target all of these hallmarks to get improvement in health spans, says Barzilai, who also is director of the Institute for Aging Research at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx and scientific director of the American Federation for Aging Research. If you target one, you show benefit in the others. The medical term for growing old is senescence. Buffeted by DNA damage and stresses, your cells deteriorate and eventually stop multiplying, but don't die. That slowdown may have big consequences for your health. Your genes become more likely to get mutations, which can pave the way for cancer. Mitochondria, which produce energy in the cell, struggle to fuel your body. That can damage cells and cause chronic inflammation, which plays a part in diabetes, arthritis, ulcerative colitis, and many other diseases. One major hallmark of aging is the growing stockpile of these senescent cells. Damaged cells become deactivated as a way to protect your body from harmful or uncontrolled cell division. But like the rotten apple that spoils the whole bunch, senescent cells encourage their neighbors to turn dysfunctional, too. They also emit proteins that trigger inflammation. Your body naturally removes these dormant cells. But older immune systems have a harder time cleaning up, so the senescent cells are more likely to hang around. Flushing out this accumulated debris may be one way to avert aging. Some experts say. De Grey also believes that could be done with drugs. These therapies would actually repair cellular damage, he says. They'll eliminate damage from the body by resetting or turning back the clock. James Kirkland, 1500th PhD, of the Mayo Clinic is one researcher exploring this theory. He gave a mixture of the cancer drug dasatinib and a plant pigment called quercetin to people with diabetic kidney disease. Quercetin is an antioxidant that gives grapes, tomatoes, and other fruits and vegetables their flavor. A small phase 1 clinical trial showed that the dasatinib-quercetin combination got rid of senescent cells in the tissues of people with the disease. The researchers don't know yet if the results will translate into prolonged youth. They also don't know how high a dosage is needed and what long-term problems the treatment might cause. People with chronic leukemia take dasatinib for years with few serious ill effects. In another recent study, scientists used oxygen therapy to tackle senescent cells. 35 adults ages 64 and older received oxygen therapy in a pressurized chamber. After 60 daily sessions, they showed a decrease in senescent cells and improvement to the length of DNA segments called telomeres. Shortened segments of telomeres are thought to be another marker of aging. Researchers are also looking to the gene editing technology CRISPR for anti-aging treatments, but the testing is only in mice so far. Barzilai hopes that if the metformin trial succeeds, it will open the floodgates to a wave of new drugs that can stop or reverse human aging. Some of the major players in this field include Juvenescence, AgeX Therapeutics, Lie Genesis, and Life Biosciences, which Barzilai founded. Until aging is seen as preventable, health plans won't have to pay for this type of treatment, he says. And if health plans won't cover aging, pharmaceutical companies have little incentive to invest in drug development. That may be the only thing standing between humans and unprecedented lifespans. The Census Bureau projects that Americans born in 2060 should live an average of 85.6 years, up from 78.7 years in 2018. De Grey's prediction tops that mark by a factor of about 50. He believes that the life expectancy for someone born in 2100 may well be 5,000 years. Barzilai, for his part, has a prediction that's seemingly more modest. We die at 80. Getting an additional 35 years is relatively low-hanging fruit, he says. But I don't believe that is a fixed limit. Experts on aging agree, there are positive steps you can take to make your golden years healthier and more enjoyable. And, they might just add as much as a decade or more to your life. So read on, and act now. The single best thing you can do for your health and longevity is quit smoking. Smoking has been indicted for a laundry list of ills from heart disease to lung disorders, all of which can foil your longevity plans. Drink only in moderation. Alcohol infuses every cell, damaging genes and inflaming your liver. A glass of wine a day for women and maybe 2 for men, but no more, may be mildly beneficial. Get your ZZs. Your body needs downtime to repair cells and rest your heart, and your mind needs dreaming to stay sane. Find a doctor who specializes in geriatrics or anti-aging. Barbara M. Morris, RPH, author of Boomers Can Really Put Old on Hold, recommends an anti-aging doctor. But according to Mark R. Blackman, MD, Chief of the Laboratory of Clinical Investigation of the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine, part of the National Institutes of Health, a geriatrician would be more mainstream and recommend fewer unproven treatments. Anti-aging is like saying anti-puberty or anti-pregnancy. This is a natural process, he says. Whatever their style, your new doctor may recommend yearly assessment of various biomarkers, including lipids, DHEA, estrogen, cortisol, thyroid, lung function, and micronutrient assays. Cut saturated fat, up omega-3 fats. It's gospel by now. Eat less or no red meat. Lose the cake and ice cream. Consume more complex carbs such as whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, and get plenty of fatty fish. The healthy fats in salmon, mackerel, and sardines help keep oxygen-free radical molecules from damaging your cells. Consider moderating your total food intake. Studies in rats show that a 30% calorie restriction means longer life. No, it doesn't just seem longer. Blackman also cites studies in rhesus monkeys showing a gain in years from a reduction in food. Obviously, losing excess pounds means less strain on your system. Be careful when tweaking your hormones. Morris swears by controversial human growth hormone for her. Blackman is no fan. There have been big studies to determine the relationship between decreases in human growth hormone and thinner bones, more body fat, and mood swings. Giving growth hormone can build muscle, but it has not been shown that the muscle is any stronger. HGH has also been associated with water retention, carpal tunnel syndrome, high blood pressure, and blood sugar fluctuations. HGH science is not at a point where any responsible provider could recommend it, Blackman says. And what about the other substance, a steroid called DHEA, often recommended for aging? Dramatically less evidence than HGH, exclaims Blackman. As for estrogen and progesterone replacement, it's been in all the papers. The combo therapy may increase, rather than cut, the risk of cancer and heart disease. Many natural alternatives to these substances exist. Your own situation should dictate your decision, but always consult your doctor. Supplement, supplement, supplement. Most of us suffer from overconsumption, malnutrition, too much of the wrong things, Morris says. She takes a fistful of vitamins and minerals each morning. Even the cautious American Medical Association recently endorsed taking a daily multivitamin. In addition to the effective antioxidant vitamin C, Morris says CoQ10, vitamin E, alpha-lipoic acid, another antioxidant, and perhaps some of those mental acuity mixtures in the health food store should be in your medicine cabinet. Again, your doctor can help you fashion routine. Reprogram your vision of old age. A study at Yale recently showed that those with a positive view of growing older lived 7 years longer than those who griped about it. Morris works with young people and they forget things all the time and never refer to having to a junior moment. Kick guilt out of your life. Laura Berman Fortgang, author of Living Your Best Life, says, be future-minded. Guilt and regrets are part of the past. Evolving and changing is how we stay young. Don't be afraid to make a big change. Fortgang says it's never too late to move, join the Peace Corps, change careers, get married, or get a divorce. Don't say you're too old, she says. Sometimes, earlier decisions need to be changed. She and Morris also say plastic surgery can be life-enhancing if you do it to look and feel better, not to change your life overnight. Morris also half-jokingly advises that people never retire. Retirement is a contagious, debilitating disease. Take some time off for a vacation and smell the roses, she advises, but don't get so intoxicated by the roses that you don't come back and do something useful. Those roses could turn into daisies, she says, as in pushing up daisies.